Time to show you the depravity of the Republican hypocrisy when it comes to crime and those that commit it. When it was Hunter Biden, it was hang him from the tallest tree. Don't give him any breaks because of his drug use and drug addiction. Let's make sure he goes to prison for as long as possible. And then all of the boo-hooing when his father gave him a pardon. Where is that same recrimination? Where is that same sense of justice when it comes to a Republican son? In this case, Ian Kramer, the son of a senator, Senator Kevin Kramer, a Republican who killed a deputy sheriff and is going to serve a very small amount of time in state penitentiary. I'm Michael Popok. You're on Legal AF, the YouTube channel. Let's compare Hunter Biden with Ian Kramer. And I'm waiting around to hear the Republicans call for Ian Kramer to go away for a long, long time and never see fresh air again, freedom again. But no, we don't see that at all. Let's talk about Ian Kramer for a minute. Ian Kramer, the adult son, he's in his 40s, of the Republican North Dakota U.S. Senator Kevin Kramer. He left a hospital impaired on drugs, had drug and drunk driving offenses. He had a 100-mile-an-hour car chase with a deputy sheriff that killed the deputy sheriff. And he pled guilty to all of those charges, but he's in state court. So in state court, the state court judge in North Dakota, Bobby Whaler, handed down a sentence of 38 years. Now that sounds like a lot, except she suspended 10 years of that sentence down to 28. And she told him during sentencing that there were no minimum sentences or maximum sentences in North Dakota, and that he would, quote, be serving a very small portion of even that 28 years and would be out on parole relatively soon. That sounds like he's going to be out in about 5 years for having killed a deputy sheriff during a drug-fueled car chase. Okay, so that he can have a quote unquote second chance, or as the judge says, it'll give you an opportunity to have a second chance that Deputy Martin does not have, nor his family have. Okay, so everybody is sitting there going, oh, he's a drug addict. Oh, he's in the throes of an addiction. Oh, it's mental health problems. Oh, sure, he should see the light of day and the freedom to walk around in 5 years. Why not? But when it came to Hunter Biden, who owned, let's just get this straight, he owned a gun for 9 days. 9 days. He filled out a federal form and said he was not using drugs, and we know now that was a lie. He owned that gun for 9 days. At the urging of his soon-to-be ex-wife, he tossed the gun into a garbage receptacle, and that was the end of his ownership. That's what he was prosecuted for, that he lied on a federal form, got a gun, and owned it for 9 whole days. He also owed back taxes, which he repaid, of over $1 million, and they prosecuted him for that, which normally 90% of the time goes into a civil diversionary program, not an IRS prosecution for people like that. But if you hear MAGA in the Oversight Committee, if you hear Jim Jordan, or if you hear the rest of them, Oversight Committee or Judiciary Committee on MAGA during the time, Hunter Biden was public enemy number one. They needed to be taken off the streets, was being given some sort of sweetheart deal. I think the sweetheart deal that never got accepted by the government was going to put Hunter Biden in jail for a couple of years for these things and put this behind him. But then the feds, under pressure from MAGA, decided to walk away from the plea deal and prosecute him instead. They tried 2 cases against him. They were about to try a second case when he pled guilty to just have it behind him. Now, Hunter Biden was willing to plead guilty. He was looking at anywhere between 5 and 15 years in prison, and there was a lot of clucking about it. Oh, he's terrible. He's getting a break. He's getting a break from being prosecuted. All I know is there were a number of special counsels that were appointed all around the same time. One against Donald Trump, one against Joe Biden, and one against Hunter Biden. And the only one who was looking at jail time was Hunter Biden. Okay. So where is the outrage about Ian Kramer, who's going to be walking out of a state penitentiary in about 5 years for having killed a man? Nowhere. Why? Because he's the son of a Republican senator from North Dakota. He's not the son of a president. It's that hypocrisy that burns my ass. You know, if you want to be the law and order party, allegedly, which is hard to do when your cult leader, your president is lawless, right? And we're getting ready to watch one of the greatest crime sprees and lawless presidencies in our history, right? Abuse of power that we've never seen before. You think Nixon was kindergarten compared to what we're about to see with Donald Trump's second time around in the White House, having now picked up precedent from the Supreme Court that helps him with his crime spree, his larceny, his kleptocracy, and his abuse of power. But if I didn't cover this particular story about Ian Kramer, and I'm not here, listen, if the guy's got a drug addiction and he's in the throes of some sort of mental health crisis, yeah, he needs help also. But he also killed somebody in a 100-mile-an-hour chase. That's not Hunter Biden, who literally a victimless crime. There were no victims. He paid back all of his money, which is the exact same argument that Donald Trump made about his New York fraud case. There were no victims. I mean, sure, I got sweetheart deals with the banks and the insurance companies that I wasn't entitled to because I lied on my personal financial statements, but there were no victims. I paid back all the money at the lower interest rate that I got. Banks love doing business with me. There's not one domestic bank, by the way, that's doing business at present with Donald Trump. But it's a victimless crime. There are no victims. All right. How is Hunter Biden tossing a gun away? Who was the victim? Right? And the only way we know about it is because he self-reported it in a memoir that the guy wrote, thinking, well, all right. I mean, he didn't really think through the process there. We would not have known that he was in the throes of the drug addiction when he filled out that federal form had we not seen it in the memoir. I mean, there were photos floating around that we've now seen off the laptop of him with a pile of coke and a prostitute. So it probably would have come out anyway. But I mean, at the end of the day, get off of Joe Biden is going to, I mean, somebody wrote, Jeffrey Toobin for the New Yorker, who has his own major scandal during COVID where he was caught masturbating, I'm not making this up, during a Zoom call with his staff in the New Yorker. He's back. He said it is a giant stain on the legacy of Joe Biden to have pardoned Hunter Biden. Where is the outcry about the fact that this guy, Ian Kramer, is going to walk out of a federal penitentiary in 5 years, having killed a man? Nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. That's why I want to cover some of these stories right here on Legal AF. I'm glad you're here with me. I'm at the intersection of law and politics, so you don't have to be. I bring you commentary where I don't blow smoke or sunshine on Legal AF. And then, of course, on the Midas Touch Network. I have about 2 or 3 hot takes a day on the Midas Touch Network. Got a new show called Popok Live on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. on the Midas Touch YouTube channel. 45 minutes or so. I don't pull any punches. I answer questions. I give answers, and I'm unfiltered there on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. on the Midas Touch Network. Wednesdays and Saturdays, Legal AF, the OG, the original Intersection of Law and Politics podcast, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the YouTube channel for Midas Touch, and then wherever you get your audio podcast from. So until my next reporting, I'm Michael Popok. In collaboration with the Midas Touch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.